Hey, what's going on everyone? So today we're going to be breaking down just how strong Teen Gojo is in the Hidden Inventory arc. Obviously we know that adult Gojo is arguably the strongest character in the series. So thinking about Gojo when he was only a 16-year-old teenager at Jujutsu High, I mean, was he still considered very strong? Where does him as a teen rank among the current top strongest list? What were the exact differences between then and now? Before we move on any further, I do have to mention that there will be manga spoilers up ahead, so please keep that in mind. When we talk about Teen Gojo, we're gonna mainly focus on the pre-awakening version, so before he unlocked reverse curse technique, just because there's more of a clear distinction in the skill sets compared to post-awakening. And this will be formatted by first analyzing his physical strength and durability, then looking at his speed stats, and lastly going over his attack potency. As we go through each category, I will bring in some differences from what the adult Gojo has either improved on or has just newly obtained in comparison to his teen years. Starting with his physical strength, this one's sort of difficult because within the 15 chapters of Hidden Inventory, Gojo primarily relies on the Infinity as his main defense towards attacks. So any other attacks that have been landed without the Infinity have only been done by Toji, who used the inverted spear of heaven, and I guess Riko when she slapped Gojo's face. Okay, that was a joke. I'm obviously not gonna count that, but we have to give a caveat since Gojo also hadn't slept in 3 days. He was very sleep deprived when fighting Toji for the first time, and Toji purposely planned it that way, right? Had he not worn out Gojo the way he did with the bounty and just fought him right away, Gojo definitely would have had a much better fighting chance. However, fighting through sleep deprivation would be considered more of an endurance feat rather than a durability feat, which I guess still fits along the physical skill sets. But there is a huge implication that Teen Gojo is similar to Teen Geto when it comes to physical strength. The author Gege Ekutami outright confirmed in an interview that Gojo is the second strongest, tied with Kenjaku in raw physical strength, just being behind the heavenly restriction users such as Maki and Toji. While this benchmark is obviously referring to adult Gojo, I don't think it's far-fetched to say that his physicality wasn't a major change within the past 12 years. I mean, yes, naturally, he would have gotten stronger. He is a lot more buff in the manga, but the difference is that the story evidently conveys more is his experience and his hacks abilities. It was further implied at the end of the arc that Gojo will continue to work and refine on his technique, so I don't think there could have been a drastic change in the physical department. And the correlation of being similar to Teen Geto, well, like I said earlier, Ekutami stated that Kenjaku is tied with Gojo at being the second strongest in raw physical strength. Yes, Kenjaku is different from Geto, but Ekutami does give an additional note in saying that it's Kenjaku specifically wearing Geto's body. Now, why doesn't it just rank Geto on this list if he was actually high in raw physical strength? Well, that's because this list is only towards sorcerers from the big three families. Thus, Kenjaku is mentioned here because of his connection with the Kamo family. Even if you don't believe this is a good indication that Geto had superior physical strength, well, the feats themselves in both teen and adult shows that Geto was a master at hand-to-hand combat, example fighting the old man curse user, and performed very well when fighting close quarters with Yuta Akotsu. So at the very least, it should be accepted that Teen Gojo is somewhat similar to Teen Geto when it comes to pure physical strength. But now moving on to his speed, there is a huge aspect from adult Gojo that's improved past his teen years, and that is teleportation. At the end of the arc, Gojo says that he'll need to work on his long distance teleportation technique, which he has successfully achieved 12 years later, although it does say long distance in specific, because as a teen, Gojo could have only teleported within short distances, example episode 2 of the anime, whereas Gojo as an adult could now teleport to long distances, such as Gojo going to Yuji in chapter 15 and Gojo going to Kenjaku in chapter 221. So teleportation is the most noticeable factor in this category. In terms of his base speed, so without the amp of blue, honestly, there's not any feats to show, but just like the previous category, he's at least as fast as Teen Geto's reaction speed, because we saw Teen Gojo counterattacking Toji using blue when trying to blitz him, whereas with Geto, Toji blitz attacked him cleanly. Now you could argue that Geto was in a closer and more vulnerable distance than Gojo, but again, Gojo was also sleep deprived for 3 days, so yeah, take that for what you will. Okay, moving on to his hacks abilities, this one is the biggest difference among the three skill sets, as Teen Gojo did not possess the full potential of the Limitless. Granted, he was still considered the strongest during that era, since Blue and his Infinity Shield were a powerful combination of abilities, but as he later found out in his first fight with Toji, he was gonna need more in his arsenal. The missing piece to unlocking Limitless's full potential was was the inability to produce reverse curse energy in pre-awakening. Nowadays, reverse curse technique, which stems from the manipulation of reverse curse energy, is one of the most crucial abilities for a sorcerer to have. So Teen Gojo not possessing this means he couldn't heal, and healing is a very prominent ability in order to be considered amongst the top strongest. But this also meant that unlike his adult counterpart, Gojo couldn't constantly use the Six Eyes and the Limitless in conjunction at a scale where it would normally fry his brain. For example, let's say a barrage of attacks like Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine is constantly attacking both teen and adult Gojo. Adult Gojo would be fine since the Six Eyes and Infinity would automatically stop every attack coming at him. However, Teen Gojo wouldn't be fine because while he still has these Six Eyes and Limitless, that automatic protection would be lost because it's the reverse curse technique that keeps those two abilities constantly active so Gojo doesn't fry his brain. That's why having RCT is considered the true potential of the Limitless. But another reason is because Gojo can flow the reverse curse energy into the Infinity, giving him access to Reversal Red and Hollow Purple. Reversal Red generates the power to repel, and the energy output is stated to at least be twice as destructive as Blue, which we can visually tell from the fight with Jogo and when he used it against Toji. Hollow Purple is the fusion of both Red and Blue, which takes the target out of reality, instantly erasing everything down to an atomic level. It's presumed that Purple is an instantaneous attack due to it being an imaginary mass. Also, Toji, one of the fastest characters in the series, he himself couldn't dodge Purple. So even if you don't believe it's instantaneous, it's still definitely not an attack that everyone with high speeds can dodge at all. Teen Gojo does not have domain expansion either, as at the end of the arc, he said that he still needed to work on his domain, and that was post-awakening saying that, which we're not even counting. So yeah, he definitely didn't have it in pre-awakening, which is unfortunate because nowadays, a lot of sorcerers, especially from the Culling game, have domain expansions in their arsenal, but I don't think Teen Gojo would be completely defenseless in a domain situation because in chapter 227, Gojo says that he learned Falling Blossom Emotion as a kid. For those who don't know, Falling Blossom Emotion, or FBE for short, is an anti-domain technique that shrouds the user in cursed energy in order to nullify the effects of an opponent's domain. But to conclude his hacks abilities, Teen Gojo does not have RCT, meaning he can't use Red or Purple, nor can he heal his wounds or even use the Limitless and Six Eyes constantly, and he doesn't have domain expansion, doesn't have simple domain, and can't perform long distance teleportation. While this might deem him as one of the strongest in the Hidden Inventory arc, come Shibuya and the Culling games, it gets tricky because the Infinity itself is still very overpowered. For example, Kashimo is considered one of the strongest characters in the Culling games because of his lightning hacks, but he wouldn't be able to charge Gojo because of his Infinity, and that goes the same with almost every character. They just wouldn't be able to touch Gojo, excluding some possessing tools that bypass curse techniques. But other than that, the only way to hurt Teen Gojo in a 1v1 would be characters with a domain expansion. Teen Gojo does not have simple domain as we stated, but he does have FBE. However, FBE doesn't work against domains with a complex sure hit like the Infinite Void as stated by Kusakabe. Only if the sure hit is a direct attack like Sukuna Slashes or Dagon's Swarm of Fishes, it'll counteract just fine. So I assume Gojo's FBE could nullify Jogo, Kenjaku, Dagon, the Smallpox Curse, and Naoya's domain, since there's technically a direct attack that aims the body for the sure hit to work. But even then, as we saw on the Sukuna fight, the sure hit attacks can eventually override the Curse Energy Shield of FBE if it's strong enough at least. But domains like Mahito's, Higuruma's, and maybe even Hikari's domain, I don't think FBE could counter those sure hits at all, since just like Infinite Void, they're not really direct attacks that actually hit the enemy. And of course, we don't know the details on Hanami, Ishigori, Uro, or Yuta's domain. Nonetheless, after going through the stats and information of Teen Gojo, ultimately, I don't think I can put him comfortably in the current top 10, but he's roughly around the top 20 because again, he can beat stronger characters like Kashimo, but other characters that have domain expansions can be a hit or a miss.